Hey guys, welcome to America Blogs, and today I would like to discuss the fall of the US dollar and the American economy. For more than 18 years, the US dollar has been the global reserve currency worldwide because of its confidence and stability. But right now, the American economy is facing a lot of challenges with President Trump sweeping tariffs and the big package of the One Big Beautiful Bill that is a legislative that will ruin the American economy and what would add trillions of more deficits, which America can't afford, which will rise inflation and would also rise interest rates gradually. Is this the beginning of the end of the US dollar, and could the euro take over? This article of NBC News shows that the Big Beautiful Bill will add 3.4 trillion US dollars to the national debt of the United States. This chart shows the national debt of the United States. In 2006, the debt was 8 trillion US dollars. And now, after 2024, the national debt is 35 trillion US dollars, which is quite a very big rise. Now, if you have such a big national debt, it has very big consequences because when debt is too high in a country, it usually leads to high inflation and high interest rates, making the economy unbearable to live in. And it's important that government budgets a very good budget and bill so that it can maintain a reasonable debt amount or even shrink the deficit. This chart shows the official inflation rate of the United States. In April 2025, inflation was 2.3%, and in May 2.4%, and in June 2.7%, which shows a recent rise of inflation. However, it's still below 3% and very well controlled with high interest rates. This chart shows the official interest rates of the United States. As of now, the interest rate is 4.5%, which is quite high according to other central banks around the world. This is usually done because Powell is still very cautious about inflation and thinks that the tariffs will rise inflation. Now, tariffs is meant to rise inflation, but many countries in the United States are busy is not adding that value to the product and is keeping that as their expense. This will eventually backfire and cause that companies will usually go bankrupt or try to move their business elsewhere. This chart shows the official growth rate of the United States. And in the first quarter of 2025, the economy contracted by 0.5%. As you can see in the recent years and quarters, that the United States had a very reliable growth of 2%. Now it is contracting. This chart shows the index of the US dollar. In the beginning of 2025, the index fund reached an all-time high of 110. This reason was because America had a lot of confidence in President Trump, and because of the election results, he was elected as the next president. However, recent months, we can see that the index has gradually declined because of Trump's sweeping tariffs. And investors are very concerned about tariffs because it has a negative consequence to a business. And a lot of businesses are fleeing out of the United States to Europe because Europe has more stability. Now, a lot of people would say it's a time that the euro shines and takes over reserve currency, but it's not as easy as it sounds because for a country to earn that sort of potential, it needs to do a lot. Now, the US dollar has still a very big independence to the world, and a lot of people uses the US dollar as the currency. It still has 50% of the reserves. And one big issue that the European Union does not have is bonds. Now, there is no bonds or a clear system of bonds in the euro area, which is very bad because you can't expect to have a reserve currency and you don't have a clear system of bonds. Now, the United States are very known for bonds. A lot of people, they keep their money in bonds so that they can protect their money from economical turmoil and that they can be guaranteed higher returns. Now, Europe does not have such a clear system. Now, as if it could introduce a sort of a Europe bond system, it could be very beneficial to the Europe economy. Summary and conclusion. I can't see that the euro will take in the very near future the reserve currency because it still has a lot of complications and it's still not a very strong economy. Europe's economy still will need to grow and it still lacks innovation.